Welcome to Duality Check, the podcast where two brothers embark on a journey through the realms of scientific inquiry, mysteries of the past, and the uncharted frontiers of spirituality. Join us as we explore the wonders of our world and beyond, all while embracing the roles of curious bystanders rather than experts. Together we'll unravel the tapestry of existence, blending the dichotomies of knowledge and wonder. Get ready to question, ponder, and delve into the dualities that shape our understanding of reality on Duality Check. I'm Drew.
And I'm Dean, and welcome to episode number 89, where
we're gonna go a little bit deeper into what we talked about last week with OAHSPE.
Is your mic not turned all the way up? Or on the interface? Can you crank that a bit?
Check.
That's a little better. Yeah, so we kind of only got some background info and just barely cracked the surface on OAHSPE, so I want to go a little deeper into it today.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get into some of the... it's been a while since I read the beginning of it, so I'm not sure where the chapters I'm thinking of are in the book, but I think they're pretty early.
We've talked about it a bit too.
So, but yeah, there's some really interesting stuff in the beginning that I'm hoping we can get to today. Yep. And then, yeah.
I brought a few clips in our folder there, our show notes.
It
sounds like I'm not.
Yeah, you're barely coming through.
It's interesting. You know what I did notice when we were doing the edit is on the video feed, my mic was not picking up at all.
At all?
Like I couldn't hear it. It was weird. I heard you perfectly fine, and I heard you on the edit, and I heard me on the edited one.
Yeah.
But like just the MP4, my mic wasn't on that like at all.
Interesting. Well, let me see if I can bump you a bit.
I'm not sure maybe my threshold, because it seems like it's just taking a little longer for my mic to turn on when I talk, and then it fades out like that.
Yeah. Well, I think you're also talking a little quieter, but...
Am
I? Let's see. Let's bring your threshold down. There we go.
Check. Doing it live. We're doing it live. But yeah, so we're going to jump back into OAHSPE. You got a few clips I prepared in a folder. And
do you watch anything interesting this week or read anything? Or
I didn't really, honestly. I was kind of busy with work and kids and all the stuff that they were going on.
That's a terrible excuse, Drew.
So I didn't really...
No,
I watched stuff, but I didn't finish anything that I was watching, really.
No, I watched the Jesse Michaels interview with Jason Reza Jorjani.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that one?
Mm-mm.
He's been on Danny Jones a couple of times, and then...
you know what? I did start this one. That's one of the ones I started.
Yeah. He's been on Danny Jones a couple of times, and then Jesse Michaels did an interview with him. I thought it was really fascinating. He's got some interesting... kind of out there ways to like connect all the UFO lore with all the like conspiracy lore and stuff.
Right.
He's got an interesting sort of picture of what he kind of hypothesizes might be like the state that the world is in and our relationship to these extraterrestrials. He basically thinks there's like two main things going on. He thinks that there's there's basically what he calls what people call like the Nordics.
Yeah.
He thinks that they are basically human, and that they have these sort of like worker classes they've created, which explains like the Greys and stuff that work for them.
Right.
But he thinks they're basically human, and they're really sort of micromanaging like the civilization we have here to serve them, basically.
So they're like the overlords.
Yeah, you got to stay right up on your mic.
I don't know why it's so sensitive today.
Yeah, so, but he thinks they're basically just human, though. And he thinks that that's where, like, a lot of the, like, Aryan, like, weird Nazi type of stuff, which is also found in other groups, like the Theosophy and things like that, where they have this, like, idea of, like, a weird, like, a sort of lineage of pureness or whatever. Anyway, but then he thinks there's like a second group, and the second group is more in line with like the creator, like the prime mover, right? And he thinks that's more represented by like the like trickster archetype, and yeah, he thinks
the Luciferian type trickster god.
Yeah, I don't know if he would say that or not, but yeah, he has some interesting takes on like the whole like Lucifer, and he and Jesse Michaels got into it too, where he was like, at one point Jesse Michaels asked him if he was a Satanist, and he didn't have like an easy answer, and Jesse Michaels was like, that's like a pretty easy yes or no question, right? He's like, well, it depends on what you like, how you define certain terms and stuff. But yeah, it's interesting because if the god that you're rebelling from is the tall whites who are trying to control everything, then is Lucifer the bad guy, right, who's trying to lead you into independence from that god, right? But if it's more like a rebellion from like the creative source, then, you know, maybe that is a little more negative, right? So
yeah.
Anyway, I found it pretty fascinating. I'll drop a link for you guys. It's cool stuff. I got a bunch of his books.
Yeah, I watched all his on Danny Jones. I haven't watched the whole thing with Jesse Michaels, but his theories are pretty interesting.
Yeah, and he's fun to listen to. He
describes it
because he's a philosopher, and he's not like some historian, and he's not like some just UFO researcher. So he feels less bound to the techniques of any of those types of, you know,
types of investigations and stuff. Yeah.
So he's able to just like explore ideas more, being that he's coming from more of a philosophical point of view. Right. But he has interesting connections to things. I think the guy would be super fascinating to talk to. Yeah,
I think he would be a fun one.
Yeah. All right, so what'd you bring here? I think see some 3i Atlas stuff.
Yeah, there's a couple things recently that popped up on the feed. This is from Skywatch, the UAP Watchers X account, and they're saying that the 3i Atlas had just shrugged off a solar CME. So they say a normal comet would have snapped, the tails ripped, core sputtering, the works. Instead, this thing just kept its line, solid, steady, no drama. If a so-called icy rock can eat a solar blast and keep moving like nothing happened, then we're looking at one of two things. Materials we've never seen before, or something reinforced on purpose, or maybe both. Add it all up, the weird green glow, CO2 heavy composition, the crazy close link to the wow signal, and now it shrugs off one of the sun's hardest punches. 3i Atlas isn't behaving like a normal comet. It's acting like it was built to survive this trip. October's Mars pass is the moment every scope needs to be locked on it. So the Mars pass is supposed to be spectacular or something.
I think it just passed Mars, and I think they were able to use some of the Mars orbiters, some of the
capture some images,
satellites to redirect and take photos. There was some videos I saw on my feed, some posts about it that I haven't gotten a chance to dig into, but yeah, that's on my list.
And then there was another one. This is from Paulina Luna's, who's a congresswoman. I think she reposted this. Looks like 3i Atlas Anomaly, who originally posted it. New image from Mars. 3i Atlas spotted again, and this time it doesn't look like a comet. A perfect glowing cylinder drifting across the Martian sky. No dust plume, no fragmentation, just structure. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, see, I don't really agree with this post so much. The thing is so if we look at this photo, what we're seeing here is what seems to me like a stationary telescope taking a long shutter length photo in which 3i Atlas is traveling across it while the photo is being taken. So streaking instead of... Yeah, so when astronomers are taking photos of the sky, because we're on a spinning planet and the stars are moving relative to the ground, if you need to take a really long exposure picture, you need the telescope to track with the movement of the stars. Otherwise, they're just going to blur, make streaks across the sky.
Right.
So the telescopes get programmed to follow the path of the stars so that they can have that long exposure and let in all the light that they need to let in. Mm-hmm. Similarly with this, if you're not tracking, whatever you're taking a photo with is not tracking the orbit of 3i Atlas,
right,
then it's going to streak in the image. Also saying here there's no glow or haze or anything, or it says there's no tail.
There's definitely a haze.
There is a glowing around it.
Yeah, I mean, that's clear.
Yeah, so
it's definitely being reflective.
And yeah, so I don't know what to say about these pictures, but that's interesting. Anyway, I don't think it's actually a cylinder shape. That's just an
artifact of the...
Yeah. Okay, and then...
and then I saw
what
this.
Have we
this
here?
Cool and funny kind of at the same time. But.
Okay.
Have you seen a UFO?
It's two guys working in a fish market.
Instant uploads to Enigma. Download the UFO sightings app. EnigmaLabs.io.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's real or not either.
Yeah.
Didn't even think to check. Well, didn't even bother to check.
Let's see.
UFO sighting alerts and aerial intelligence.
Regional sightings. Looks like you can look stuff up too.
USA, 247,000. California, 30,424.
Is this just raw numbers, or do you think it's going to give us the actual reports?
Cool if they did, but looks like it's just raw numbers.
No,
we got
photos and videos.
Wow. Oh, I saw that. I don't know what this person with the camera is doing.
That's a street light.
Yeah, no, there was something that was flashing above it, but...
Oh, look at this. Oh, dang it. Oh, Oh, cool. It's got
Wow, it shows you a map of where it's at.
maps, a story, snake-like smoke with something propelling forward in a head-shaped craft. My family was in our backyard when we saw this. The smoke was unusually bright, sky very clear. Starlink rocket. Yeah, that does look like a rocket. This is
That's
cool.
a pretty cool website,
Yeah.
though.
So, yeah, enigmalabs.io looks like a place you can report, a place you can look up sightings. I bet they're doing some cool stuff with the data on this. Very cool.
You go to press. Maybe they have some kind of paper or something. Okay.
No, just what press they've been featured in. Huh. Collections.
Oh, they got the drones in Northern and Central Europe.
Mm-hmm. Jersey drones. NASA balloon. Metallic orbs.
Those like the airport ones, maybe. Oh, it just shows you all the different data points on people who've seen the orbs, huh?
Yeah, looks like they just got a ton of raw data. You can click on certain ones to see them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is a cool tool.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. Maybe we'll have to do like a daily Enigma checkout.
Yeah, see what...
Enigma, you can sponsor us.
That's very cool, too. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Then curving sharply. Huh. Okay.
Very cool tool to have. We're going to have to come back to that in the future for sure. Bookmark it.
I dig it. Enigmalabs.io. Check it out. Okay, well, what do you say we dive in then?
All right, let's go. Do some, hear about some more OAHSPE.
All right, let me find my space. So last week we were able to got through 2 chapters of this? 2 small chapters.
Yeah, about.
All right. Dang, this book is so big.
It's massive. Bigger table
right.
just to hold the damn book.
We did the first OAHSPE chapter. We did some forwards and stuff. Oh, there's this letter in here I wanted to read. It's from John Ballou Newbrough to editor of the Banner of Light, Boston, Massachusetts. Yeah, let me read this before we go into the next chapter. So it says here, the Banner of Light letter. The following is the text selectively abridged of the letter written by John B. Newbrough to a publication called The Banner of Light, to explain in his own words how OAHSPE was received. Since Dr. Newbrough is describing events as he perceived them, it is understandable that he should use phrases like "I was not satisfied," or "I was craving," or "I took it into my head." These personal references could lead one to think that somehow Dr. Newbrough initiated the idea and facilitated the mechanism you needed to produce a volume like OAHSPE, or that somehow his actions attracted the angelic overshadowing to him as a flame would attract moths. This, of course, could be no further from the truth. The reality was that The planning process for the production of OAHSPE was in effect long before Dr. Newbrough was even born, and that his role had been completely a reflection of the will and controlling influences of the angelic overshadowing that chose to use his natural talents for their advantage at this critical moment in time. While Dr. Newbrough's involvement in the process is appreciated, it was purely serendipitous. So, yeah, once again, the editorializing here is really like trying to not make a profit out of John B. Newbrough.
Okay.
New York, January 21st, 1883, to the editor of the Banner of Light, Boston, Massachusetts. Dear Sir, OAHSPE was mechanically written through my hand by some other intelligence than my own. Many spiritualists are acquainted with this automatic movement of the hands, independent of one's own volition. There are thousands and thousands of persons who have this quality. It can be educated, or rather, the susceptibility to external power can be increased. In my own case, I discovered many years ago when sitting in circles to obtain spiritual manifestations that my hands could not lie on the table without flying off into these tantrums. Often they would write messages left or right, backward or forward, nor could I control them in any other way than by withdrawing from the table. Sometimes the power thus baffled would attack my tongue or my eyes or my ears, and I talked and saw and heard differently from my normal state. Then I went to work in earnest to investigate spiritualism, and I investigated over 200 mediums, traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles for this purpose. Often I took them to my own house and experimented with them to my heart's content. I found that nearly all of them were subject to this involuntary movement of the hands, or to entrancement. They told me it was angels controlling them. In course of time, about 10 or 15 years, I began to believe in spiritualism. But I was not satisfied with the communications. I was craving for the light of heaven. I did not desire communications from friends or relatives or information about earthly things. I did not desire communications about earthly things. I wished to learn something about the spirit world, what the angels did, how they traveled, and the general plan of the universe. So after a while, I took it into my head that wise and exalted angels would commune better with us if we purified ourselves physically and spiritually. Then I gave up eating flesh and fish, milk and butter, and took to rising before day, bathing twice a day, and occupying a small room alone, where I sat every morning half an hour before sunrise, recounting daily to my Creator my shortcomings in governing myself in thought and deed. In 6 years training, I reduced myself from 250 pounds down to 180. My rheumatism was all gone, and I had no more headache. I became limber and sprightly. A new lease on life came to me. Then a new condition of control came upon my hands. Instead of angels holding my hands, as formerly they had held their hands over my head, and they were clothed with sufficient materiality for me to see them, and a light fell upon my hands as they lay on the table. In the meantime, I had attained to hear audible angel voices near me. I was directed to get a typewriter, which writes by keys like a piano. This I did, and I applied myself industriously to learn it, but with only indifferent success. For 2 years more, the angels propounded to me questions relative to heaven and earth, which no mortal could answer very intelligently. I always look back on these 2 years as an enigma. Perhaps it was to show me that man is but an ignoramus at best. Perhaps I was waiting for constitutional growth to be good. Well, one morning, the light struck both my hands on the back, and they went for the typewriter. I had worked myself into such a religious fear of losing this new power that I obeyed reverently. The next morning, also before sunrise, the same power came and wrote, or printed rather, again. Again, I laid the matter away very religiously, saying little about it to anyone. One morning, seemed accidental to me, looked out the window and beheld the line of light that rested on my hands, extending heavenward like a telegraph wire towards the sky. Over my head were 3 pairs of hands. Fully materialized behind me stood another angel with her hands on my shoulders. My looking did not disturb the scenes. My hands kept right on printing. For 50 weeks, this continued every morning, half an hour or so before sunrise, and then it ceased, and I was told to read and publish the book OAHSPE. The peculiar drawings in OAHSPE were made with pencil in the same way. A few of the drawings I was told to copy from other books, such as Saturn, the Egyptian ceremonies, etc. Now, during all the while, I have pursued my vocation, dentistry, nor has this matter, nor my diet, vegetables, fruit, and farinaceous food, detracted from my health or strength. Although I have continued this discipline for upwards of 10 or more years, I am firmly convinced that there are numberless persons who might attain to marvelous development if they would thus train themselves. A strict integrity to one's highest light is essential to development. Self-abnegation and purity should be the motto and discipline of everyone capable of angel communication. Yours truly, J.B. Newbrough.
Cool. Yeah. That's a pretty interesting story.
Yeah.
It's like that whole idea of automatic writing seems like very, very, I don't know, that would trip me out if that ever happened. You're just like, writing in your journal one day and just like come back and look later and you knew something came over you, but you didn't know what it was. And then you come back and look later and it's like something crazy you wrote that you would have never thought of.
Well, I wonder exactly how
because it sounds like he's not actually aware of what's being written in the moment. It sounds like he's listening to these angels, he's writing it down, and that's why at the end they said, now read it, and then, publish it.
Yeah, because he seems to be describing being able to, look around any direction while
it's just happening.
The angels are guiding his hands.
And he's hearing the angels in his head. He's got one on his shoulders. It's probably like, hey, you're fine. Everything's, hey, what do you want to know? You got any questions? While his hands are just going.
I wonder if the conversation they're having with them is totally separate from what his hands are typing at the moment.
It reminds me similarly of, what's his name? Oh, shoot. I had it for a second, but the guy who is kind of Michael Masters.
Oh, yeah.
And his experience. You remember his experience where he was at a conference and ended up in this room with these people.
Yeah.
And he knew one of them and she was there, but she was everybody was in a trance and there was all this and now he has this knowledge that's been put away in his head that he has no idea what it is, but he agreed to keep it there until the right time, basically, or something.
That's pretty common with abductions. Now that I've finished John Mack's first book, that's something that gets talked about a lot, is people have the feeling that
something was put in there.
That information was put into their head that they don't exactly have access to, but that they will at the right moment.
It'll be made clear to them at some point.
Yeah.
Super fascinating.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously frustrating too, because I want to know what they have in their head.
For sure.
Man, this is cool. All right. Well, maybe we should take a quick break and then we'll come back and we'll get into the next chapter of OAHSPE.
All right, let's do it.
All right, thanks for hanging out with us so far. We'll be right back.
All right, see you guys in a minute.
Told me sweet lies, sweet love. He told me sweet lies, sweet love. Broken by the burden. Broken by the burden.
Welcome back.
All right. Let's hop into some OAHSPE.
Yeah, okay, so we are starting the Book of Jehovih. I want to show you guys these glyphs here. Can you full screen me?
Yeah.
See if you...
Up a little bit.
Can you see that?
Yep. Yeah, those are all like some sort of glyphs that have to do with. So we'll read about those. We were looking for them online. We couldn't find them over the break. But
Yeah, I was trying to find a downloadable version that I could...
we'll link
throw
it
this up.
and we'll put it in with the video version and link it if we can find it.
Yeah, these are interesting little glyphs. Like some of them look like little UFOs. Some look like little snakes. One looks like an upside down heart with an arrow through it. Like a bird eating seeds. These are interesting glyphs. All right, so
What does it say about them?
we'll get there in just a second. Book of Jehovih, wherein is revealed the three great worlds, Corpor, Atmospherea, and Etherea. These are the three worlds. So Corpor, I think, is the physical world that we know on Earth. Atmospherea, if I'm not mistaken, I think it'll explain it more, but I think it's like the immediate heavens around the Earth, like the first level up of like spiritual, like the spiritual territory surrounding the Earth,
Yeah.
basically.
Spiritual bubble around it or something.
And then Etherea being like the greater, wider universe.
Okay.
As in all other Bibles, it is revealed that this world was created. So in this Bible, it is revealed how the Creator created it. As other Bibles have proclaimed heavens for the spirits of the dead, behold, this Bible revealeth where these heavens are, and the manner and glory and work that the spirits of the dead enjoy, whereby wisdom, power, love, and glory of the Almighty are magnified for the understanding of man.
Okay.
And then it shows those glyphs.
Does it have any description of it?
It's got a little subtext here. It says, apology. The universe is full. All things are members. Speech they have, bid them speak. The recorder of their words be thou, such as panic. And then panic, it says, in quotes, means earth language.
Oh, okay.
Such as panic, earth language. The first language. What saith the bird, the beast, the stars, the sun, all? It is their souls speaking. The soul hear thou and repeat it. This light leadeth thee to origin.
Is that the translation of that glyph? Maybe
It doesn't say that.
Right, but it almost seems like it because it's kind of like just like a. I don't know.
Yeah,
sounds like it at least.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like there's a bird picture that said, "What saith the bird?" But like that's the only thing.
Right. Other than that,
a lot of these don't necessarily seem to connect to whatever that apology quote was. All right, so this book is broken into chapters, kind of like a Bible. And yeah, it's a few pages here. Cool. So let's start.
Let's go.
Chapter 1. All was, all is, all ever shall be, the all spake, and motion was, and is, and ever shall be, and being positive was called he and him. The all motion was his speech. So that's like their version of the let there be light.
Yeah. It kind of almost provokes the secret history of the world rendition of the sun god speaking light into, speaking I guess, was he using his voice to materialize, the world?
Mm-hmm. I like that every time it says all here, it's in all caps.
Oh, okay.
So all is like almost like a title.
Okay.
He said, I am, and he comprehended all things, the seen and the unseen, nor is there aught in all the universe but what is part of him. So everything in the universe is part of the all.
Yeah. Okay.
He said, I am the soul of all, and the all that is seen is of my person and my body. By virtue of presence, of my presence, all things are. By virtue of my presence are the living brought forth into life. I am the quickener, the mover, the creator, the destroyer. I am first and last. Of two apparent entities am I. Nevertheless, I am but one. These entities are the unseen, which is potent, and the seen, which is of itself impotent and called corpor.
Impotent, eh?
Yeah. So the potent is the unseen. Maybe that's the spiritual side of the world. And the seen is the impotent, is the corporeal existence.
We all inhabit.
But it's impotent because of maybe what it's trying to say
inert
is
abilities, the inert abilities within.
Like the actual creation happens outside of it. Like,
yeah. And also just like maybe there's inert ability, but incapable of, untapping it in a sense.
Yeah. With these two entities in likeness thereby of myself, made I all the living. For as the life is the potent part, so is the corporeal part the impotent part. Chief over all that live on earth, I made man. Male and female I made them. And that man might distinguish me, I commanded him to give me a name. By virtue of my presence, I commanded him. And man named me, not after anything in heaven or on earth. In obedience to my will, named he me, after the sounds of the wind uttereth. And he said, E-O-I-H. So which is now pronounced Jehovih, which is written thus. And then it spells it Jehovih.
Jehovah.
Yeah. So that's the name that man gave to God. But notice in the beginning, he's just saying all.
Right.
Which is kind of the experience I had of like that sort of all, that source,
Oneness.
that creator.
Yeah.
When I was in my vision.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a handful of psychedelics that can bring about that type of feeling too. And just the idea that it's kind of obvious too once you kind of like see it and it makes sense to you. It's like, yeah, we're all just one. We're all living on this thing together. It's an illusion of separation based on distance and geography. But, as a human race, we are all fundamentally the same anatomically.
Yeah, but not just the humans, but all living creatures and all atoms and all material.
It's all an illusion everything. Outside of that. Yeah. It's all right. What we create.
Chapter 2. Jehovah said, by virtue of my presence created I the seen and unseen worlds. And I commanded man to name them. And man named the seen worlds Corpor, and the unseen worlds Es. That's Es. And the inhabitants of Corpor man named Corporians. But the inhabitants of Es he called sometimes Essians, and sometimes spirits, and sometimes angels.
Essians, I like that.
Yeah. So it's interesting that man is naming these things.
Well, it kind of seems natural.
Well, it almost seems like directed by God for man to name these things.
Or in the absence of direction,
and I commanded man to name them.
Oh, okay. Then there you go.
Yeah.
But, it just makes sense, too. Like, you want the thing that is going to be discovering you for the first time to name it, because that's their language, their ability to communicate, right? But,
it doesn't necessarily make sense to, like, throw the words at man for it when they may be
already
difficult.
Shocked by your appearance.
Well, and like maybe the words didn't exist because it's a feature of man and to use names as symbols, right? So maybe the need for the names didn't necessarily exist until the man needed the names, right?
Right. I mean, it all started with just sounds too, Making just noises to mean certain things. So, Anyway.
Jehovah said, I created the earth and fashioned it and placed it in the firmament, and by my presence brought man forth a living being. A corporeal body gave I him, that he might learn corporeal things, and death I made that he might rise in the firmament and inherit my Etherean worlds.
So starting some sort of cycle of reincarnation and...
Yeah, so he gave us a corporeal body so that we can learn corporeal things, but gave us death so that we can then become spirit and inherit.
And maybe that takes multiple
world.
lives too, right? Like that
Sure.
can take multiple generations of life to get to that point.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think OAHSPE's big on reincarnation, but we'll have to get further in. If I'm not mistaken,
It sounds like it there, at least.
yeah.
I mean, so, like maybe spiritual reincarnation, not physical reincarnation, but
Yeah. To S, I gave dominion over Corpor.
they're the leaders.
Right. With S, I filled all place in the firmament. But Corpor I made into earths and moons and stars and suns. Beyond number I made them and caused them to float in the places I allotted to them. So he's saying like the spirit world is everywhere, but the corporeal world is only on these like dense gravity wells of planets and stars and moons.
Systems.
So like when you look out in the night sky, all that empty space, that's all the spiritual realm.
Right.
And it's only the stars and the planets that are actually corporeal worlds.
At least would be corporeal worlds.
Right, right. S I divided into 2 parts. And I commanded man to name them. And he named one Etherea and the other Atmospherea.
So these are the 2 immediate stages above us then.
Yeah. These are the 3 kinds of worlds I created, but I gave different densities to Atmospherian worlds and different densities to Etherean worlds. So the Atmospherea worlds seem like they're like spiritual realms that are sort of tied to the corporeal.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like the spiritual realms that are stuck in the gravity well of the planet, right?
Yeah, that's interesting to think about. Huh.
For the substance of my Etherean worlds, I created ETH. That's ETHE.
Okay.
The most rarefied. For the substance of my Etherean worlds, I created ETH, the most rarefied. Out of ETH, I made them. That's like ether, I guess.
I was going to say, yeah.
And I made ETH and the most subtle of all created things and gave to it power and place, not only by itself, but also power to penetrate and exist within all things, even in the midst of the corporeal worlds. And to the ETH gave I dominion over both Atmospherea and Corpor. So ETH is just a substance. I made them. So these are
Are they the, like...
the Essenes or whatever? Or the
Yeah.
angels, the spirits?
Well, it sounds like within Essien is the ethereals and the... what was the other one? Ethereals and...
The Atmospherea and Corpor.
Atmospherea.
Yeah.
And, no, there was so the Etherea and Atmospherians.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was 2 that made up Essians, is what I'm gathering.
Well, yeah, the whole like spiritual realm, Etherea, is divided into 2, which is
yeah, because it sounds like they're setting up these tiers.
S is divided into 2, which is Atmospherea and Etherea. Both make up S, right?
Right.
And
So they're
Essenes-
setting up these tiers of like hierarchy within the spiritual realm.
Yeah.
So corporeals, immediately deal with the, atmospherians and the Etherians or whatever. But who's to say who goes where and what happens after that? And when you, as far as like death and rebirth and all that kind of stuff, so maybe these I don't know, we're going to find out more obviously as we go as far as their.
Yeah.
Good.
But it's interesting that he said he's giving them dominion over Atmospherea and Corpor.
Well, Atmospherea is within Essien, though. So who did he give the power to then necessarily there?
Yeah, he just says, I made them.
Yeah, so I don't know what the them is.
Yeah, me neither. In the all highest places, I created the Etherean worlds, and I fashioned them of all shapes and sizes, similar to my corporeal worlds. But I made the Etherean worlds inhabitable both within and without, and entrances and exits in arches and curves, thousands of miles high and wide, and overruled I them with perfect mechanism, and in colors and movable chasms and mountains in endless change and brilliancy. To them I gave motions and orbits and courses of their own. Independent I made them, and above all other worlds in potency and majesty.
And he's talking about the Essians there?
Yeah, he's talking about like the Etherean worlds.
Yeah.
So the worlds out in deep space, I guess.
Huh.
Or I don't know if it's like out in deep space or if it's more like
within
a different realm
ether,
altogether.
within the ether.
Yeah.
The dark matter.
Right.
Neither
created I one Etherean world like another in size or density or in component parts, but every one differing from another, and with a glory matchless even in its way.
God.
So every single one is unique. Atmospherian worlds I also created in the firmament, and I gave them places and orbits and courses for themselves, but Atmospherian worlds I created shapeless and void of fixed form, for they are in process of condensation or dissolution, being intermediate in condition betwixt my Etherean and corporeal worlds. Of 3 degrees of density I created them, and I commanded man to name them, and one he called Agi, and one he called Ga, and one he called Nebulae.
Interesting.
So
very interesting.
There's 3 levels to Atmospherea, and they're sort of tied to the corporeal is kind of what I'm gathering.
Well,
right?
It sounds like the Atmospherea and the Etherea are the ones who are in charge of the corporeal world.
Yeah, but I'm
so
talking
they are
about
tied in a sense.
Yeah, like I'm talking more like the geography of it, though, like the
as far as relative, to us or
just how they all connect to each other. Like I'm wondering if this is all like a metaphor for just
space in general.
Space, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if this is more like dimensional to where some of them are
on top of one another.
Are like indetectable even in principle.
Right.
Because they're not here.
Well, it could be
if
both.
It's more like when you look out and you're
right?
seeing these like nebula, like that like you're seeing an Etherean world or whatever, right?
Yeah, well, it could be both. Is my idea. Like, I feel like space is out there, but that space is filled up with a lot of other things that we are just not capable of understanding and realizing in other dimensions. So it's almost dimensional, but it's still the space is out there. It's just not for our eyes,
Yeah.
in a weird way.
Maybe this will shed some light here. Check this. But all of them are composed of the same substances, being like the earth, but rarefied. Nor is there on the earth or in it one thing, even iron or lead or gold, water or oil or stones, but the same things are in my atmospherian worlds. As I have given light to the earth, so have I given light to many of them, and all such have I commanded man to call comets. And even so named he them. Interesting. Yeah,
I don't know what to make of that.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that either. Comets, huh? I thought it was interesting that one of the levels of Atmospherea was named Nebula.
Yeah. I was waiting for the next one to be named Star-Lord.
And I also created Atmospherea around about my corporeal worlds. Together I made them. So Atmospherea is tied to the corporeal world.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Atmospherea is like the solar, like this. Think of it this way. It's like
what if it's just the soul realm attached
the
to it?
heliosphere.
Yeah.
Right? So like the entire sphere of influence of the sun.
Yeah.
The solar wind goes out and eventually that bubble ends, and at the end of that is where it's no longer dominated by the solar wind, and instead it's dominated by whatever galactic energy, right?
It's pushing back on it. Yeah.
Right. So maybe the Atmospherea, or at least a level of the Atmospherea, is the whole like heliosphere around our solar system.
Right. I mean, it could be even bigger, right?
But that seems to be like the physical limit of like what is tied to our corporeal world.
Sure.
Directly, anyway.
But it does sound like it could be like, so this atmosphere could be just like the souls and or some sort of structure that is attached to each individual corporeal world. So a world where there is life inhabiting.
Yeah, like if you travel to a different solar system, it will have its own planets and its own atmosphere around its corporeal worlds as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, because then it seems like, so within this corporeal world seems to be entities that maybe are part of the chain of, souls recycling on Earth. Like this could be like that first level. I don't know where they're going to go with it.
Yeah.
But if it becomes any more spiritual, like there's got to be some aspect of the dying and what happens after. So.
All right. Chapter 3.
Okay.
Thus spake Jehovah, by the light of Cosmon. That's Kosmon. That's a word they throw around in here a lot. And I warned you guys last week, but like I just want to reiterate, this book has a lot of its own vocabulary.
Yeah.
So we'll have to like learn these words and what they mean.
Figure it out on the fly.
Yeah. We can also look them up. There is a glossary. So
okay.
Just
something that really stumps us, we'll check that.
Yeah. Let me know if we want to look one up. So, thus spake Jehovah, by the light of Cosmon proclaimed he these things amongst the nations of the earth. Man looked upward in prayer, desiring to know the manner of all created things, both on earth and in heaven. And Jehovah answered him, saying, The whirlwind made I as a sign to man, that the manner of my created, or as a sign of man, as a sign to man of the manner of my created worlds. So the whirlwind is a sign of the manner of his created worlds.
Okay.
As thou beholdest the power of the whirlwind gathering up dust of the earth and driving it together, know that even so do I bring together the Agi and Ga and Nebula in the firmament of heaven. By the power of the whirlwind, create I the corporeal suns and moons and stars. And when I commanded man to name the whirlwinds in the Etherean firmament, and he named them vortices and work. That's W-A-R-K. Work. According to their shape, named he them. Named them vortices. So this is part of what this book does that I find really fascinating. So remember to keep in mind this was written in the 1800s, right?
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot of science that had not been done yet.
Yeah.
And we did not know the nature of our universe yet. We didn't even know there were galaxies.
Right. Yeah, we didn't know much, did we?
It wasn't until Hubble, which I think was in the early 1900s, that we discovered that these weird dots and blobs that were out there were actually whole other galaxies like the Milky Way that we were in.
Yeah.
And before that, we just thought it was all stars.
Right.
So, like, essentially, we thought the galaxy was the universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then we saw that, no, there's countless of these galaxies, right?
Yeah, basically as far as you look.
So anyway, I say that to tie back into here and say, it seems like they're almost preempting some of the science here.
Yeah, telling a story about how the science may be the direction of it.
Well, saying that everything works by a vortices. Right. So we know, like, I think at the time, we obviously knew that, like, we orbit the sun. But I don't think we knew that the galaxy we were in was a spiral galaxy.
Yeah, we knew he was doing orbital mechanics on it. And like,
right. And I don't think we just knew of spiral galaxies in general yet.
Yeah. Maybe there was some, like, telescope that they were looking at back then or something.
Well, there was definitely telescopes back then, but whether
they were seeing that far enough. Yeah.
Or maybe they just thought there were weird stars that had weird shapes, but they were still stars. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they were powerful enough to, like, zoom in on distant galaxies yet, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, the spiral is an interesting shape. It contains, like, the golden ratio. Spirals also make me think of the thunderstorm generator that, the whole thing that, what's his name? The guy, Burr, it was a B. Anyway, but Randall does a bunch of coverage of it. And there was a bunch of coverage at last year's Cosmic Summit. But he says that the whole thing works off of these, like, swirling energies, basically.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because also it seems like magnetic and electric fields are spiraling around each other. Seems like a lot of things happen through the spiral.
Yeah, whether seen or unseen.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
so I find it fascinating that they sort of, like, lock in on that.
Yeah,
as, like, a cosmic
at that time. Yeah, at that
tool of God, basically.
In that era, yeah, to make that discovery or assumption.
Yeah. But I don't know, like, the state of pop science knowledge in the 1800s.
Right. Do you want to finish something off, or do you want to...
where are we at?
Take a break real quick?
Oh, yeah, I think we're at a good spot to take a break.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and we'll see y'all in a minute.
Adios.
Hole in my heart, shoulders apart. Hole in my heart, fill it up, shoulders apart. Hole in my heart. in my heart, feel it up, shoulders apart, killing love. Killing love, killing love, killing love, kill love, 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 killing love. Doomsay, 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 doomsay,
Welcome back.
All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
That was
back.
Stevie Nader, Doomsayers.
We are back for another segment on OAHSPE.
Let's hop into it. So we were talking about vortices and spinning spirally motions, right?
Yeah.
By the power of rotation, swift driving forth in the extreme parts, condense I the Atmospherian worlds that float in the firmament, and these become my corporeal worlds. In the midst of the vortices made I them, and by the power of the vortices I turn them on their axes and carry them in the orbits I allotted to them. Wider than to the moons of a planet have I created the vortices, and they carry the moons also. So, saying...
Dude, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Earlier when they were talking about the comet of it all,
Yeah.
it reminds me of like we know that we are on Earth spinning through this, the solar system around the sun, and the sun is moving in the galaxy, all these things, but we are like a comet moving through the cosmos at all times, We're not still. We're not moving. We're not still. It's like, we got to keep that in mind, the grander scale, right?
The OG chapter 1, the all motion was his speech.
Yeah. So everything is always in motion, is what that says.
And motion was the speech, right?
And that's what draws down to the spirals in this motion. It's this motion of everything that will continue down the line,
Yeah.
I so above,
And he's saying the corporeal worlds are condensed Atmospherean worlds.
Right. So they're within the Atmospherean worlds.
Right. So it almost sounds like the Atmospherean worlds are this like actual nebulas and stuff that solar systems and suns are born out of. Right.
Right. Very interesting.
Around about some of my corporeal worlds have I given nebulous belts and rings, that man might comprehend the rotation of my Vortexian worlds.
Vortexian.
That's a cool word. So, yeah, like the rings of Saturn are a clue to us of the nature of the creation, basically.
Right. It's a clue to figure out the meaning or the purpose or the cause or something.
Or more like the mechanics of it.
Yeah,
like,
maybe the mechanics, yeah.
For each and every corporeal world created I a vortex first, and by its rotation and by the places in the firmament whither and it travelleth, caused I the vortex to conceive the corporeal world.
So that makes me see, like, as it travels through the universe, whatever region of space they're in, these vortex are
sucking up
solidifying these materials into corporeal worlds,
right?
In which physical entities or physical nature of everything will reside at some point, maybe throughout, but maybe not all at once. Very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, but it says it creates the vortex first, right? So
as it's moving, it's creating this vortex within it that is sucking up parts of wherever it is at any given moment.
Right.
And so that is what gives it the particles and all of the attributes.
And it probably would allow for different worlds and different places to have different makeups and compositions and variety, right?
Right.
A great vortex created I for the sun, and within this vortex and subject to it made I the vortices of many of the corporeal worlds. The sun vortex I caused to rotate, and I gave it power to carry other vortices within it. According to their destiny and position are they thus carried forth and around about the sun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, so, and then you could scale that even further up for like a galaxy.
Yeah. And then the galaxy within the, chain of galaxies that are operating on some grander scale of operation.
I mean, I think the galaxy is the greatest scale that we see these like spiral structures.
Acting on any force.
Well, we still see structure, but like we see like web-like structures.
And you don't know what kind of force may be pulled or used on
right, but we don't really see like circular rotational structures beyond galaxies that I'm aware of.
Right. But still connections, just maybe not these motion.
Yeah, it's a different type of structure at that point.
Yeah.
Think not, O man, that I created the sky a barren waste and void of use. Even as man in the corporeal form is adapted to the corporeal earth, so is he in the spiritual form adapted to my Etherean worlds. 3 great estates have I bestowed on man, the corporeal, the atmospherian, and the Etherean.
So these are the 3 states for earthly material beings.
Yeah, but he's saying that like the same way our body is evolved to survive on Earth, right? Like we need a certain pressure. We need certain gases to be able to breathe. We need a certain temperature range. We need certain foods available to us, right? Like we are built for this planet.
Right.
They're saying so in the same way that we are built for this planet, like our spiritual self, our soul
is built for its plane of existence.
For the Etherean worlds and the Atmospherian worlds.
Right.
And you're adapted to those the same way your human body is adapted to this earth.
Right. Okay.
Chapter 4. Man perceived the general foundation of the world, and he prayed that his eyes might be opened for a sign in heaven. And Jehovah answered him, saying, the clouds in the air I bring into view suddenly. By different currents of wind make I thus the unseen visible and tangible to man's senses. In like manner do I cause Etherean currents to bring forth Ag and Ga and nebulae prior to making corporeal worlds. So he's saying that similar to how you could say God moves the clouds about
right
through the weather systems, the complicated weather systems of the earth, you say that he's moving around the primordial nebulous matter in the universe to combine and to create new worlds.
Yeah, so maybe this is that like idea of like the world bringer, the world destroyer, like this like connection between like certain eras or epochs of a system bringing on like some sort of like calamity.
That's an interesting connection. Man perceived, and he prayed for a sign of duration, and Jehovah answered him, saying, behold the three which hath sprung up out of the ground and fulfilled its time. It falleth, rotteth, and turneth to the earth. But lo, the wind which thou seest not never ceaseth to blow. Even so is the comparative duration of all things. Think not, O man, that corporeal things are annihilated because they disappear. For as a drop of water evaporateth and riseth into the air as unseen vapor, so do all corporeal things, even earth and stones and gold and silver and lead, become as nothing in the firmament of heaven in course of time.
Yeah, it's recycled.
Yeah, but that everything has a sort of spiritual essence that continues.
Mm-hmm.
Things that man seeth created I with a beginning and an end, but the unseen I made of endless duration. The corporeal man made I belonging to the seen, but the spiritual man made I as one with the unseen and everlasting. So, yeah, we have a soul, basically.
Right.
As the corporeal man beholdeth corporeal things, so doth the spiritual man follow upward the evaporated corporeal entities of things. As corporeal things are tangible to corporeans, so are things tangible to the spirits of the dead. So just like physical matter is observable to us, the spiritual matter is visible to the spiritual beings.
Intangible to them.
Intangible to them, yeah. Which is interesting, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, and maybe there's a connection between there, right?
It does make
it
one
almost makes you
want
think
to like go towards dark matter.
Well, and I was gonna say it almost makes people want to go towards materialism too, because if you think that there's this duality between like you are a corporeal being meant to experience corporeal things, material things, and then you throw in this connection between your spirit, and if there is like as long as you're consuming material things as a material being, your spiritual being will continue doing whatever it is it needs on like almost if you're doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing here, you're going to get the thing that you're supposed to be getting here, and so on and so forth. Like if they're connected in such a way, I mean, that's what they're making it sound like, at least. Like there's a connection between you doing a corporeal thing and your spiritual being getting a tangible reward for being the spirit of the person of, you know. I'm curious as to that.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll elaborate at some point.
As I cause water to rise up as vapor and take a place in the air above, let it be a sign and testimony of others' places in Atmospherea whereon dwell the spirits of the lower heaven.
It's the first mention of the lower heaven there.
Yeah. As I made a limit to the ascent of the clouds, so I made a limit to the places of the different kinds of substances in Atmospherea, the more subtle and potent to the extreme, and the more dense and impotent nearer to the earth. So, yeah, it's saying Atmospherea is essentially an extension of our, like, corporeal world, right? Like, as it goes up, it's like this physical atmosphere, and there's a hard limit to how high the clouds can go, right? Similarly,
rise to the firmament theory.
Right. As the atmospherian worlds get more dense, they're getting closer and closer to the earth. And it's almost like it seems like it's almost like a phase transition of density. Like as it gets less dense, less observable to the corporeal world, it becomes observable to the spirits.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. And that might lend to like a lot of the obsession with like religion in a sense, or like spiritualism. I guess, I don't know. I'll think about it more before
According to the condition of these different plateau, this is an interesting way to spell plateau. It's Plateaux.
Plateau.
Plateau. According to the condition of these different plateaux in Atmospherea, whether they be near the earth or high above, so shall the spirit of man take its place in the first heaven, according to his diet and desires and behavior. So shall he dwell in spirit on the plateau to which he hath adapted himself during his life. So it's saying there's levels to this atmosphere, to these lower heavens, right? And that some of the levels are more dense and closer to earth. And depending on like what condition you were in when you died, when you became a spirit, you may be more adapted for the lower levels that are more like earth, or the higher levels if you're more spiritually advanced, right?
Stuff, yeah. Huh. That's fascinating. So they got tiers within tiers within tiers.
Yeah.
Of hierarchy of
this book
experience.
is very hierarchical.
Interesting.
For I made the power of attraction manifest in all things before man's eyes, that he might not err. That like should attract like made I them. Man sought to know the progress of things. Jehovah answered him, saying, Open thine eyes, O man. There is a time of childhood, a time of genesis, a time of old age, and the time of death to all man. Even so is it within the corporeal worlds have I created, or I have created. So,
these stages of life.
So man is asking, what's the future of things? What's the progress of things, right? And he's like, well, open your eyes. There's a natural life cycle, right? There's a natural life cycle, just like there is in the corporeal worlds. Right. There is a similar natural life cycle in the spiritual realms.
So everything has a cycle. Everything has a...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
First, as vapor, the vortex carrieth it forth, And as it condenseth, its friction engendereth heat, and it is molten, becoming as a globe of fire in heaven. Then it taketh its place as a newborn world, and I set it in the orbit I prepared for it. In the next age, I bring it into Semu, SE apostrophe MU.
Semu.
Or Semu. For it is ripe for the bringing forth of living creatures, and I bestow the vegetable and animal kingdoms. Next, it entereth into Hotu, HO apostrophe TU. For it is past the age of begetting, even as the living who are in dotage. Next, it entereth Adu, A apostrophe DU, and nothing can generate upon it. Then cometh Uz, UZ, and it is spirited away into unseen realms. Thus create I, and thus dissipate planets, suns, moons, and stars.
That sounds like a celestial time clock.
Mm-hmm.
Or
well, so here's what I'm gathering from this is that the spirit condenses Atmospherea into corporeal worlds, into a hot molten world, right? And then when it becomes of maturity, when it cools, it directs the motion of that world through these like nebula that like seeds it with plant life and living creatures, and then seeds it with animal life. And that like the course it's charted through the heavens brings it into contact with things that seed the planet with the things it wants, that the creator wants seeded on it.
And it's this motion through where it goes through these different stages, this cycle that they continue to talk about.
Right.
Where it goes through these different stages of like seeding, I guess. Okay.
My examples are before all men. My witnesses are without number. I raise a tree up out of the ground. I give it a time to bring forth fruit, and then barrenness, and then death and dissolution. I prepare the new field with rich soil, bringing forth, and the old field that is exhausted, and man shall weigh the progress and destiny of a whole world. Let no man marvel because the size of the mammoth and the ichthyosaurus, for there was a time for them as there is a time for infusoria of this day. What is infusoria?
That might be a look-up one.
Yeah, INFUSORIA.
Might be one of their glossary terms.
Yeah. A word used to describe various freshwater microorganisms. That is very interesting. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's a time for mammoths and ichthyosaurs, just like there's a time for tiny little microbial life. Is what it's saying.
Okay.
I have given thee a sign, O man, in the queen of the honeybee. Because of the change of the cell cometh she forth a queen, even from the same manner of a germ as other bees. Be wise, therefore, and remember that the earth is not in the place of the firmament as of old. Let this be a testimony to thee of the growth, the change, and the travail of the earth. Nevertheless, O man, the seen and unseen are but parts of my person. I am the unity of the whole. This is an interesting little bit where it says, I've given you a sign in the queen of a honeybee. Because of the change of the cell comes forth a queen, even from the same germ as other bees. So he's saying that, like, even though, like, the eggs of bees that grow into bees, like, you can't distinguish what will be a normal bee from what will be a queen, yet right. A queen comes, and that's like him showing how he works.
Okay.
So
it's just faith and belief and...
Well, it's just saying, like, you may think you understand how things work, and then what you think will grow into a normal bee will turn into a queen, right? Like you won't necessarily expect it.
I see. So just, like, live your life, and, like, things are going to happen, and you just got to know what, when, and how to interpret them.
Well, this is all, like, in the context of the discussion of, like, life cycles and whatnot too.
Yeah. So rolling with the seasons kind of thing.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, we finished chapter 4.
All right. Well, perfect time to take a
break.
Yeah,
and then,
take a quick break.
Maybe we can hit chapter 5, and then we still have a ways to go before the end of Jehovah.
Okay. Well, we'll at least get through chapter 5 after the break here. But yeah, we'll appreciate y'all hanging out with us so far, and we'll be back in a minute. Welcome back, yo.
Alrighty, so we got last segment here.
Yeah, let's dive into some more of this. What are we on, chapter 5?
Chapter 5. Looks like there's a 6 and a 7 and 8 before the end of this book. Okay. So, man perceived the magnitude and the glory of the corporeal worlds. He said, How shall I speak of thy great works, O Jehovah, and of thy wisdom and power? Shall I open my mouth before thee? Shall I look upon thy countless stars, suns, moons, spread out over the heavens? The millions of years thou hast driven them out and round about of mighty worlds, by thy breath going forth. Oh, I said that all wrong.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. The millions of years thou hast driven them on, and in the never-ending firmament, processions in and out and roundabout of mighty worlds, by thy breath going forth. O thou all highest, how shall I hide my insignificance? I cannot create the smallest thing alive, nay, nor change the color of a hair on my head. What am I that thou hast seen me?
So I am powerless to...
Who's just like in awe of the creation, right? And like comparing their own power, right, is insignificant.
So insignificant, yeah.
Can't even change. I can't create the smallest life form. I can't change a color of my own hair on my head.
Yeah. Just how untapped they are to their own biology.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell me, O my creator, whence came life? This unseen within me that is conscious of being. Tell me how all the living came into life. Jehovah heard the words of man, and he answered him, saying, let a sign be given to man that he may comprehend. Simu. So S-E apostrophe M-U.
Simu or Simu?
Simu. S-E apostrophe M-U.
Okay.
Or Semu.
Simu.
Thereupon Jehovah caused the jellyfish and the green scum of water to be permanently coming forth in all ages, that man might understand the age of Simu. When the earth and the shores by the water and the waters also were covered over with commingled atmosphere and corporeal substance. And this substance was called Simu. Because by Jehovah's presence quickened he it into life, and thus made he all the living, both vegetable and animal worlds. Not that Simu is jellyfish or the green scum of water, for the earth in this day produceth not Simu abundantly. Nevertheless, the jellyfish and the green scum of water are signs of that which was in that day of the earth.
Dude, you know what that reminds me of? Is the vegetable life forms from the Secret History of the World.
Yeah.
And how like there's like this epoch of existence where there was no like the physical nature of the universe or the worlds were not so permanent, maybe.
Sure.
Or not as like adamant as they may be now, but that they lived these like plant life forms that were some conscious in their own way, and we know that plants have this like very intricate communication network.
Algae and fungus and like
mycelium.
Yeah. They have different living conditions. And you could imagine a world in which like the earth is less dense and like the atmosphere is super thick,
rich,
and the oceans aren't as like deep, where like it's almost like a continuum between the depths of the ocean up to the heights of the atmosphere, right? Like it's like, where's the surface?
Yeah. It's just different medium change. That's all.
And so like you could see a weird form of
consciousness and existence.
Some sort of like algae, molds, fungus, like abundant life.
And maybe there was like regions of life and existence, or like if like conscious, if we were to take the what's the term, panpsychism, is that the term for everything having like, so you have these like conscious entities, you know, and in a, you know, supposed world of, you know, vegetable life,
right?
I don't know. I don't want to go too deep down this rabbit hole yet, because we might have some more secret history coming up. So maybe we'll get back into it more. But
sure,
let's keep going.
But like jellyfish and algae-like creatures, right? Like it's talking about jellyfish and algae. You're saying it wasn't literally jellyfish and algae back then, but like that kind of gives you the idea of like
some sort of
the abundant life that was around in that
some
time.
sort of lush life forms. Yeah.
Jehovah said, "Because of my presence quickened I into life all that live or have ever lived. Because I am male and female, even in my likeness, thus I made them. Because I am the power to quicken into life. So in likeness of me, thus I made them, and with power to bring forth. According to their respective places created I the living, not in pairs only, but in hundreds of pairs, and thousands, and in millions. According to their respective places and the light upon Simu, so I quicken them in their color, adapted to their dwelling places. Each and every living thing created I new upon the earth, of a kind each to itself, and not one living thing created I out of another." So everything is unique, nothing is... I wonder if that's like an argument against Darwinian evolution.
Yeah, maybe a subtle one.
Everything was created anew. Nothing was created out of another thing.
Yeah, well, maybe it's just a little swipe towards it, yeah.
Yeah. Let a sign be upon the earth that man in his darkness may not believe that one animal changeth and cometh another.
So saying they don't want us to ever believe that?
Let a sign be upon the earth that man in his darkness may not believe that one animal changeth and becometh another. So
that evolution is not real?
Yeah. So let there be a sign so that man doesn't end up believing in something like evolution, is what that sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Thereupon, Jehovah gave permission for different animals to bring forth a new living animal, which should be unlike either its mother or father. But he caused the new product to be barren. Jehovah said, "And this shall be testimony before all men that I created each and all of the living after their own kind only." So he's saying the evidence that he created everything unique is that when you try and crossbreed different species, they end up barren. Right. So if everything was interchangeable and came from another, he's saying they should be able to interbreed. But because I made them all separate, I made it so that they can't. As evidence to man.
Right. Because, you know. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I mean, there's weird dark rabbit holes you can go down talking about like the illegal underground research that has been done into like interbreeding species and with different species, like unethical scientific experiments.
Right.
It sounds like weird things can be created, but as to whether they're all sterile and can't reproduce, I don't really know. Like I know like when you breed like a lion and a tiger, you get the liger.
But the liger can't reproduce into more ligers.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that works for other species.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a good thing to know, huh?
Yeah.
If that is even possible.
Such is my person and my spirit, being from everlasting to everlasting. And when I bring the new world into the time of CME, lo and behold, my presence quickeneth the substance into life. According to the locality and the surroundings, so do I bring forth the different species, for they are flesh of my flesh and spirit of my spirit. To themselves I give themselves. Nevertheless, they are all members of my person. As a testimony to man, behold, the earth was once a globe of liquid fire, nor was there any seed thereon. But in due season I rained down CME on the earth, and by virtue of my presence quickened I into life all of the living. Without seed, I created the life that is in them.
Okay.
That's the end of that chapter.
Oh.
It's
Yeah, it's very interesting.
yeah, so this is its own like brand of like a creation account.
Yeah, I'm trying to like connect it to some of the other creation accounts that I've, heard and read, but
Yeah, like the Bible is
it's
much
quite different.
more.
It's quite different.
Yeah, the Bible is much more seemingly hand created. This seems to be using systems, but also saying like I created everything out of my own work, and they did not just change into each other. Like it specifically seems to be saying evolution not true.
Right.
Right.
But that the physics and the nature of the creation is what gives the creation the ability to change.
Right.
The motion, the spherical spiraling motion that's constant throughout all things is what gives things the ability to change over time.
Right.
And not
right.
this like idea of evolution. Like drastic changes happen when you go through a patch of the universe where there might be high in something that you are susceptible to uniquely.
This is one of those sections too where like it's a decent check for the legitimacy of the channeling versus this being made up by the author, right?
Sure.
Because you would expect if it's made up by the author, he should only be able to draw upon current science and only comment upon current scientific like commentary and thinking, right?
Right.
And so being in the late 1800s, that should be a time where there's still a lot of discussion about Darwin and his ideas. A lot of questions. Right.
Yeah.
And so makes one wonder if the author was just against evolution. And then it makes you wonder if, let's say the author was just against the idea of evolution, right? As laid out by Darwin and was probably being argued all the time back then, right?
Yeah.
Would that affect his ability to channel? Like when the channeling stuff gets into motion, because when you hear people talk about like remote viewing and stuff, it's very much like turn off your analytical brain so that you can allow the subconscious to stream forth.
And give you the most truth, right?
But like you're getting these images that you have to draw or speak about, but like you're stuck with drawing or speaking about symbols that you have understanding of.
Yeah.
Right. And so if an idea comes forward and you have biases in your head attached to that, it can affect the remote viewing. In a similar way, I wonder if someone who's just flat out against evolution, right, is being channeled, like if that bias can cloud the channeling.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it should be able to. It would be able to.
Yeah, so it makes me question, like, because you would think if this was happening in like modern day, if there was a modern day equivalent of this guy writing this, you would think they would take into account evolution, right? And a lot of our modern tech, right? And it would address things based on the time we're in, right?
It still could it could be contemporary to the author still, whoever the author may be, and whether contemporary to their timeline or time frame of knowledge, it could be biased in such a way too.
Right.
You know, we don't know that they saw all the events, you know, if they saw anything at all, or if they're just speaking to a feeling or an external, you know, source is giving them guidance in their guidance of their subordinates, you know. Just weird. I like this whole tier system of everything, though. It's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah.
Instead of just I mean, I guess it's always kind of been tiered with all the other stuff, but with like angels and, you know, prophets and whatnot on the religious side, at least.
Yeah.
All right.
So we finished chapter 5. We can go into 6, but
maybe we save it?
Yeah, we probably save it.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Cool.
All right, well, appreciate y'all hanging out with us.
That was a fun first.
We got through 5 chapters there?
5 chapters of one book.
Yeah, I mean, the first Jehovah.
We flipped a few pages. Basically.
Yeah. We've got a long way to go.
It's a big book and it's pretty small print.
Yeah.
So you can fit a lot on a few pages.
A lot
of
going
this book.
into it. And it's a massive book.
What do you think so far, like, of the whole presentation of it and like its sort of theology or explanation of the origin of things?
I think it's very cool the way that they prefaced everything, but I'm interested to see how they lay everything out as far as like the structure of it all. Because like you could see the pieces going into place as far as the structure and the hierarchy, but I want to know, like, I want to hear some more of like how things have actually played out in the human story, and how the structure of it,
graphic detail about that stuff.
Yeah, and like how the structure of it all plays into that, because that will give you more of an idea of like outside of that what goes on, right? Like,
right.
I want to know higher up how that also functions outside of the Etherea and the what was the other one?
Atmospherea and corporeal.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. What do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know.
Appreciate you all checking this out. This is gonna be, we're probably not gonna do another episode on it next week, but we're gonna definitely get this in here every couple of weeks, if not every other week.
Maybe we'll do episodes like through a book, right?
Yeah.
Like, because we're in the middle of the Book of Jehovah, right? Like, it would be cool to be able to finish that out, and then maybe take a break for however long, and then like start a book and do a couple parts to finish that book, and then take a break.
Maybe we will do some more next week.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be.
It'd be fun to finish this chapter.
Finish the book, at least. Yeah.
I call it a chapter. It's a book. Yeah.
And then we can, take a break and move on to the next thing. That makes sense. But yeah,
because it's kind of in the middle of creation, and I want to see where it goes. Right.
At least finish that part out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What do you guys think of this? And are you guys excited for more? Because I'm excited for more of this OAHSPE and what it could bring. And we've discussed OAHSPE many times when going through Secret History of the World.
Dude, it's one of the things that I bring up the most, right? Like these days, the things I bring up the most is either a reference to OAHSPE or a reference to like my DMT trip.
Yeah. Which, are linked, and I think a lot of these religions are linked in some very key way. And I think they all share the stories of the past because there was some connection in the past, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's some truths in here that I immediately pop out to me as truths, right? Like talking about everything as all.
Yeah.
And talking as, like, at some point he talks about all the things he creates, but that they're just parts of him. And
they're self reliant and self-aware too. Like they're they're actual agents.
Right.
still being part of the all, but they're
Right.
agents experiencing their own portion.
And that seems basically right to me.
Yeah.
And it seems sort of distinct from how it's described in the Bible. Mm-hmm. So I find that convincing, at least that part of it.
Sure. Well, yeah. Reach out to us if you guys want to get involved in the conversation. You guys want to give us your thoughts on this episode. Hit us up at host@dualitycheck.net. That's our email. You guys could like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you guys see us. There's a rating system, there's a comment section, or there's some sort of direct message option. So get involved, let us know how you think, or what you think about the episode, how you feel about the topic, stuff like that. And you guys can go to our website. It's got literally everything all in one place. We're going to scroll through it here while we're talking about it, but it's dualitycheck.net. You guys can find every episode. Click on one of the description, the tags on the right side here. The bigger they are, the more often we talk about it. So if you guys are interested,
Bashar, big alien,
big UFO,
decent sized DMT,
the massive
Zondos come up a lot.
Massive UFO, because we talk about that almost every episode.
Click on the
UFO
Egyptians here and
pulls up everything you need. So one-stop shop for Duality Check and everything that we are coming out with and producing. So appreciate y'all hanging out with us this week. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of Duality Check. Peace out.
Adios.